It's 21 past 8 on Nova 937. Nathan, Nat and Shaun. For parents, it's a big concern about what their kids are doing online. Help is at hand. Paul Litherland joins us. Paul.
Nate, how are you?
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Now, saw you on the news the other day speaking to some of the students around Perth, and I think it's really super important what you're talking about, because when we grew up, if you wanted to share a photo with a friend, you would have to have $30 and 10 days to wait for the negatives to be done, and but nowadays there's no thought process. You can do and you can act, and it can become a thing.
Yeah, and this is the problem we're having with so many, especially getting that transition between parents understanding that environment and teens working in that environment. So many of our parents just don't understand the immediate reaction that our kids are having online with photos and interaction and stuff like that. So it is a massive world.
Hey, Paul, give us a bit of a background how you got into this and where it all stemmed from.
For me, I was a police officer for 21 years, and it was a coincidence. I've got web design and image or graphic design background, so I had a hard drive that pooped itself, so all my images were burnt out because it burnt down. So took it up to a mate up at Tech Crime. He said, I said, look, can you get my images back? And he said, look, you know about computers? Yeah, a bit. Yeah. You want to come work for us? So worked at Tech, started at Tech Crime 5 years later. I started up Surf Online Safe, so working really good.
Oh my God, that's a great way to get a job.
Yeah,
my kids are on their tablets and stuff all the time, and I'm worried about a couple of them that put photos up and put videos out in particular. They're the ones that really worry me, because I don't know where they're going. They think that they're just going to their mates, is what they tell me all the time. We've got a small group of friends, and so everything's safe, no worries.
Are these Vine? Are these Snapchat? What are they, Shaun?
Oh, they're a combination Snapchat. There's one called Musically.
I mean,
which is the one.
Let's use Musically as an example. That one's pretty good. As long as, and most of these, Shaun, if you're working within your own peer network, it's okay. Where most of them fall down is they're sharing stuff outside of those networks. They're getting out into the broader public. So with Musically, it's okay. So those of us who don't know what it is, simple interface, mobile app where you can just lip sync 15 seconds to a song, and then you can share that with your peers on that network. But of course, a lot of the hashtags on that app are quite risky in the fact that kids can share those videos with their mates, and only their mates will see it. But what they don't know, especially parents, is you can click on a hashtag at the bottom of the app, and you can have a look at anyone's videos across that network.
with the same hashtag.
So, and of course the most popular hashtag at the moment in WA and Australia is the hashtag Masturb, MASTURB. So our 9, 10, 11-year-old kids are clicking on this and now being exposed to some horrible stuff. So this is where, again, it's really just a matter of sitting down with our kids.
So it's not just about...
Took me a second to work out what Masturb... What is that?
It's not just about what they're putting out there. It's also what they're being exposed to is the other concern.
That's where a lot of it's coming in. And this is where it's frustrating. And I use the analogy to most of my parents and schools is mum and dad aren't going to throw the car keys to the kids at 17 and go, off you go, see you later.
Yeah.
We're both going to sit down and have a look. What does this do? What does that do? But we're not doing that to a degree online.
Yeah, so Paul, in this situation, how do parents get into what the kids are doing online? Because a lot of them are, nothing to worry about, I'm just doing this.
Or they're one step ahead of you. When you find out about one thing, they're already using something new.
I teach them how to hack their account. No, not really.
But seriously, though, like you would want to get in there and hack it.
Yeah, but the biggest education for me is, and at a Surf Online Safe presentation, a lot of parents will come and they'll think, maybe I'm going to help solve all their issues and I'm going to fix the internet. That's not what it's about. It's about starting a rapport as early as you can with your kids, understanding they're getting online, and even to the point where, and let's use Facebook as an example, it's 13 age limit, but I'm presenting to primary school kids now, and 10, 11 years of age, you're getting 65% of these kids are on Facebook. So it's about understanding that and go, right, let's work with them early and get them to understand how these networks work.
Now, there are a lot of parents right now, and, I feel sorry for anyone that has got a daughter who's going through the phase of taking those really, sexy little selfies of each other to send to her friends and stuff like that. And I know there's a lot of parents out there that are probably saying, don't take those photos. They look too risque, even if they're not. What do you say to those parents who are trying to convince their children not to take those photos? Because I don't think we realise about the digital footprint these days.
No.
Everything's going to be with you forever.
You might be able to delete it off your phone, but it's
Yep.
on the internet
this
for
is,
life.
And this is what I dealt with at Tech Crime so often. And it was heartbreaking with a lot of people because and again, teens, they act impulsively at times.
Yep.
Hey, that's the definition of a teenager.
Absolutely.
We all did
Their
it.
judgment is skewed.
And that's exactly right. So it's about just taking the time, the 3-second rule, just think, assess before you post. And even to a degree with a lot of these young girls who are posting photos that are quite intimate, it's the risk of where the photo's going next. That's my biggest
you know what?
message.
Because a lot of the young boys that are getting them, they don't have the decision-making process in them yet to say, I shouldn't be sharing this.
That's exactly what most of them are because... And I've seen images, and there's a current image that's going through the Google Drive at the moment that I'm talking about in the media, and this is a poor young girl who's been identified and named, okay, and unfortunately she's made a silly decision and she's sent her boyfriend a nude, and he's of course sent it, but you can jump onto Google and there's a photo of this poor young girl in her bathroom, and she's completely naked obviously, and she's taken the shot. Now I can find this girl's Facebook account and I can have a look at her photos on Facebook, and I've been able to identify that exact same bathroom, so I now know who this girl is. So this poor girl is getting phone calls and messages from deviants all around Perth, assuming that because she sent a nude, that's the kind of girl she is, but she's not.
Can you walk parents through how to Google image search right now?
Yeah. Okay, so what we can do is we open a Google image, a Google page on any browser, Firefox, whatever you want to use. Yep. So go to the Google Images tab.
Yep.
Grab one of the photos that you're worried about, okay? And I've had a few people speak to me say, I don't want to upload the photo. We're not uploading the photo. No. What we're doing is we're putting onto the Google network the metadata, how the image is seen across the internet.
Yep.
We're not uploading the photo. So take a photo, just simply drag and drop it into the search bar.
Yep.
What Google will do then is do a search on the internet and try to identify copies of that photo across the broader internet. So once we identify, hopefully we don't get anything come back.
Yeah.
But if we do, just simply click on that link, find out where the photo is. Hopefully it's someone we know or somewhere we know. Contact that person if it's a social networking account. Say, look, can you remove my photo? Or if it's in this case a Google Drive, contact Google or contact the website and get on to find out who owns that. Who's running that photo.
If you do contact, they're under no obligation to remove it though, are they?
And this is the most frustrating thing about most of them, Nat, is the fact that, and stuff I deal with, especially where they're over the age of 15 or 16 years of age and above, these websites have obtained these photos legally. Yes, the boys have sent them on, and sadly, and it's not about a bag and the guy session, it's most of these photos are posted by young men. These photos are out there because they've obtained them legally. The boys have sent them on legally, so it's not as though they've been stolen. So there's no obligation on these organisations to remove them. It is. And from a parent's perspective, it is a nightmare. Imagine someone Googling your daughter and finding her nudes, and that's heartbreaking. And this is what I'm trying to stop. And I think there needs to be a lot more accountability on that person who chooses to send it on. Okay? And I say this a fair bit. It sounds defeatist, but I can't stop anyone sending nudes. What I can do is hopefully just get kids to assess and teens to assess where it's going to go next. Because if I can stop them just making that next step, then hopefully I can minimise that. And you can jump onto one of the main sites in the world, search 3 words, teen nude selfie, and you'll get 476 pages come back. 338 photos of young girls who made a silly mistake of trusting a boy with a nude.
Paul, we'd love you to stick around. There'd be a lot of parents out there, I'm sure, who've got questions. I've had them, thinking, going through, knowing that we had you on this week. 13 24 10 if you want to give us a call. Ask Paul, because this is important stuff that everyone knows.
Is there some technology that your kids are talking about and you don't know about it? Do you want to know how to stop them from doing this stuff? Paul's here to help. 13 24 10. It's 25 to 9 on Over 937. Nathan, Nat and Shaun, and we're joined by Paul Litherland, who is an online security specialist, and you're here to stop hopefully stop kids from making wrong decisions when
Yes.
using internet technology, yeah?
It's all about choices, for
Well,
sure.
it's such a powerful tool, the phone. We were just talking before that you might have the strictest household in the world where your children aren't allowed outside unsupervised, but as soon as you give them a phone, that's their portal to the outside world, so they might as well be outside.
Yep. And Nat, you say just to stop them making poor decisions.
Yes.
I don't think we're gonna
No.
stop them, but if we can minimise the impact
That's
such
right.
decisions will have, then I reckon we're halfway there.
Definitely. And we put the call out. We thought maybe you want to ask Paul a question too. Michelle's in Heathridge. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Mish.
It's a scary world, isn't it, Michelle?
Oh, very scary, especially as teenagers now.
I know.
Very
What's your
scary.
question for Paul?
Well, about a month ago, I've got a 12-year-old daughter, and she posted, but she hasn't got Facebook or anything like that, but she has Instagram. Now, she posted some comments on Instagram, which were not very nice, and since then she's deleted that, but it just doesn't go away. It's still there. People can still see them comments.
Okay, so
And she's getting a bit of bullying at school through it, and, you know, I don't know what's the next thing to do.
have you spoken to the school, Michelle?
Yes, I have, and they're going to try and sort of actually have like a big discussion about things like this.
Yeah,
So it's not
I
sort
mean,
of
the
individual
best
children.
thing we can do is I'd say with the Insta account, because they're still being viewed, I'd say someone's copied and shared the posts across their pages and stuff like that. So
So now that's out of your control, isn't
yeah,
it?
it is.
Michelle, were they
Yeah.
comments on her own Instagram account or on somebody else's?
No, it's her own Instagram.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so
she
I'd say
just
someone
wrote
shared it.
something. Yeah, she's just written something that was going around the school and stuff like that about herself, and it's just sort of been blown out of proportion
Okay,
now.
and have you gone through the reporting mechanisms on Instagram, Michelle?
No, I haven't. I
Okay, if we
haven't.
sit down with your daughter and have a chat with her, just sit down next with her. Again, we don't say stuff like you're in trouble. Let's just try to get this stuff off. We go through the reporting mechanism. So on a device, just click the three dots on the right-hand side at the top of the screen. You'll see some drop-down menus come down, and you'll be able to report the actual post itself. What happens then is, but just make sure we don't do it the once. Make sure we get as many of her friends as well to report on that particular post, because
Right.
then they'll actually take some action. At times it does get a little bit frustrating because if it's only a couple of complaints here and there, but make sure as many of her friends can report on those posts, and they will take action. But again, if I mean, the guys will give you my email address, or feel free to contact us. I mean, I'm obviously presenting to a large number of schools. It would be great to get out and have a chat with your daughter's school and send the message not only to her but also to the rest of the
that'd be
group,
great. Yeah,
and
it's
hopefully help them out.
definitely needed.
Yeah. Hey, Paul,
Definitely needed
Oh,
nowadays.
sweetheart.
do you
That's
recommend like kids at that age making their Instagram accounts private?
Of course. I mean, and Instagram is 13 years plus, so Michelle,
Yeah.
realistically, she
She's not
shouldn't be
quite
on
there.
it. And
That's
of course,
right.
I'm not going to be able to criticise you for that, because that's hard. It's hard being a parent
Yeah.
in 2016. So it's just a matter of really sitting down with her and go through the security settings in regards to making sure that if she does post stuff that her friends can't share or repost or all that sort of stuff. So making sure the account's really locked down. And that, again, that's something I can assist you with quite freely.
So if they actually delete their Instagram account, does it always stay there, or is it completely deleted? Can people see
After
past stuff,
14
or-
days, you can reactivate, and this is where it gets a bit cheeky, because if you delete your account or deactivate your account, even if you visit Instagram to see if it's still there, as soon as you do that, it'll reactivate the account.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
you've actually literally got to say no, deactivate, and don't go anywhere near the app or the page for 14 days.
Wow.
And after that, then yes, they will remove everything across.
And that's
there.
amazing, because
Okay.
some people can't spend 5 minutes away from
I
Instagram,
know,
let alone
exactly.
14 days.
Oh,
So.
Michelle, good luck. All right, let's move on to Sarah in Kalamunda. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning.
Hey,
Hi,
Sam.
Saz.
Now talk to us. What's your question for Paul?
Well, I've got a nearly 13-year-old daughter. She's had Instagram since the beginning of the year, and we sat down and went through everything with her, and she's on it. She's only posted about 6 things anyway, and none of them are photos of herself. But she's desperate for Snapchat, and from what I can read, it's not an ideal app, and I've said no repeatedly. But is it as bad as I'm thinking? And what can I tell her that would shock her enough to not want it anymore?
I feel like people are a little bit riskier with Snapchat because they think it's gone straight away
Yes.
afterwards, but you don't
Yeah,
realise
and that's
now.
what I've read, that it doesn't go.
But it doesn't go.
Or
That's it.
there are apps that you can use to capture it
Yeah.
and things like
Yeah, and
that.
they can say something a bit naughty, or they
Yeah.
can do something a bit naughty, and they think, okay, well, that's gone after 10 seconds.
Not
It's not the case, is
necessarily.
it?
And Sarah, again, it's and it is good to scare the kids, and I do that as well. A bit of tongue in cheek, obviously, at my schools. I call it scaring them straight. But I mean, again, your daughter's probably too young because it's 13 years of age across that network. So the only reason I raise that is because if she does join, she will be breaching terms and conditions. So in reality, the network aren't going to protect her, because the first thing they'll say is, oh, too bad, so sad, she's breached our terms and conditions. So
I've got a couple of months until she turns 13.
Yeah,
and
so
then
that's
that
all
one
right.
goes out the window.
But Snapchat is okay. Again, as long as she's using it appropriately, and as long as she has the right rapport with you as a mum, and she sits down and uses it properly and with the right supervision, it is good. It's just another level of communication. The reason kids love Snapchat is because it is deleted in its sense. And of course, you know what teens are like? Oh, it's too hard to delete stuff. So that's why they love Snapchat. So it deletes it for them. Yes, they are still using it inappropriately, but if she's got the right level of trust with you and rapport with you, then she is going to hopefully assess. But more importantly, we sit down over every couple of months and we go, right, let's have a look what you're doing across the network, and have a chat. Just continue to communicate with your children. So I think Snapchat is okay, but again, let's have a look what we are posting. Yes, it is deleted across the network. However, as Nat said, you can do a screenshot. A lot of her friends can maybe get hold of her Snapchats and all that sort of stuff and share them. So it's just a matter of really looking at using the network appropriately, and hopefully we can do that.
Okay, excellent.
Good
All
luck.
right, thank you.
Thanks,
So,
Sarah.
Paul, if you have two sons and let's just say they're 9 and 10, Snapchat's too young?
Yes, Shaun McManus.
For as an example, just speaking
just
generally.
throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there.
But isn't that crazy, though? Because you know that they've got Snapchat, right? So, but yet you've never gone on there and read the terms and conditions and stuff, and that's something that your kids are on. So it's very odd, isn't it?
13s, and I've had the argument, but then it's thrown in my face all the time.
All my friends are
But now
using
knowing that if something was to happen now,
That's right.
Snapchat
They're
have
not
got
protected.
they don't have to look after your kids.
They don't have to.
That's insane.
And again, this is where it's frustrating. And again, I use the analogy, Shaun. So if your school was to build a playground at your kid's school and say, off you go, kids, go and play. There's rusty nails, jagged edges. But if your kids get hurt, too bad, so sad.
Yeah.
If your kid ripped an arm off, you'd probably sue the school. But
you wouldn't be
hey,
happy.
the online world,
Yeah.
hey guys, here's Facebook, here's Instagram, Snapchat. But hey, if your kids get hurt, too bad,
Too bad.
so sad. Not our control. And there's a website called Omegle, run out of the US, which is very risky. And the responses we'd get at Tech Crime is, sorry, we are not responsible for our users. And there's these guys getting their gear off, flashing to young kids across the network. And this is what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So the onus is pushed back to us as parents and to the kids. And some parents will go, oh no, they're too young to deal with that. But I reckon they're up for it because our kids are smart. Our kids are switched on. So it's about giving them that education to go, right, you want it? Okay, let's sit down and have a chat, but you use it responsibly. If you don't, then
So,
we can
and it's an
take action.
ongoing dialogue, isn't it? You need
It
to
has
talk to
to
them
be.
all the time.
You know what
rather
I
than just
love?
sit them down once and say, don't do it. You
I
need to
reckon
talk to them all the time.
The best invention that probably hasn't been invented yet. Remember, our parents knew what we were doing and who we were talking to because we were stuck by a cord to the wall.
Yes.
I think there should be a thing, right? I think there should be a thing where if you've got 3 kids or whatever, there's 3 cords, like coiled cords, stuck to the kitchen wall, and then you just clip their iPhones in there. You've got the lock, and then if they use it, they have to basically be hanging around
Yeah.
near
They
you.
can do what they're saying.
Wouldn't that be great?
Some sort of way that you could monitor so whatever they do feeds back in through your laptop so you can check up on them. Invent that.
And it'd be great. It'd be great.
But you've got no time because the kids are on it 24 hours a day.
And you'd have to be everywhere.
Yeah.
But again, most kids are good, and we talk about nudes, we talk about all this sort of stuff. People think it's massive, it's a huge issue, and it is for those individuals. But in reality,
They're isolated
our
incidents.
kids aren't jumping on Snapchat all night, 2 o'clock in the morning, just smash
I think
and-
what
Most
it
of
is,
them
though,
are using it innocently.
That's right.
I think
Yeah.
what it is you want to keep your kids away from predators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
that's
exactly
a
right.
way that a predator can get in there without you knowing.
Yeah.
And this is where we sit down and we have a look at most of our large social networking sites. And Shaun, we talk about terms and conditions.
Sure.
None of our kids will read those.
No.
So
No.
I'll sit down and I'll talk about indexing, how we can be found by Google searching. We can found by photos across the networks, even what we call a graph search on Facebook. So you can type in photos of Shaun McManus
Yep.
in the top of a search bar on Facebook. It's called a graph search, and it'll bring back a whole pile of photos of you that can be found across the network. So
You look
again,
good, though. You
you
look
do-
good. I do it every night.
you do you do that at a school, and all of a sudden you'll see all these school kids in the room
Yes.
that you're presenting to, their photos, and they're going, how did that happen? So well, because you don't understand how advanced. It's called social networking for a reason.
Yeah.
It's networking. So and I use the analogy, look, if I can identify all the people at Domain Stadium who are posting on Facebook and Instagram, and I can go to the AFL of a end of a football season and say, here you go, guys, here's 60,000 guys a week who are sitting there looking at your one of your games.
Yep.
The AFL will want to buy that information.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
here's all
That's
their
right.
usernames, here's their photos. It's brilliant.
Wow. All right, you need to check out Paul's work. surfonlinesafe.com.au is his website. He does take bookings to speak at schools, but they're filling up fast.
Yeah.
So 2017 and 18 are already filling. So if you're a parent or a teacher who wants him to, you want to get him to come and speak at your school, get onto it. And there's lots of resources on your website as well,
Of course.
obviously.
And
Yeah.
I'm a YouTube channel and Facebook page and all that sort of stuff. So
You should
thanks,
see Snapchat, everyone.
thanks, guys. Thanks for the opportunity to speak to everyone. And I look forward to working with you again in the future.
Good on
you,
you,
Paul.
Paul.
Yes,
You're doing
listeners.
great work. It's 14 to 9.